So coming soon to a neighborhood near you, you may see these on the street. Evidently, this is a new crypto project where they're coming to scan your eyeball. And for real. And this thing is called Worldcoin. This is brought to you by Sam Altman, and he's an OpenAI guy, and also to ChatGPT. So this is not a small person. And evidently, he's going to use the fame of the OpenAI ChatGPT to sort of push this thing. It just launched, and evidently, people are buying into it. I'll read the headlines here. Sam Altman's Worldcoin token nears 350 million market cap, potentially netting OpenAI CEO even more cash. And this is sort of the inside look at the cameras. This is for real, guys. I'm not making it up. I know it seems like science fiction, but evidently, they've been taking it to different communities around the world. Largely, though, developing countries, and scanning people's eyeballs. And this is actually official photos coming from Worldcoin. You can see they're running around and say, hey, we'll scan your eyeball. And you're probably wondering, like, hey, why would someone do that? Well, they give you free crypto. So the basic idea is that the more people you buy into this thing / scan your eyeball, the more that your crypto will be worth. That's basically what all of these things are based on. The more people that buy into it, the more popular it gets, and the more, I guess, it's worth. And obviously, the worth is relative. And I'd love to hear from the crypto bulls if Worldcoin, in fact, will replace Bitcoin. I think in terms of naming and branding, hey, Worldcoin, if you're going to go for it, I guess your choices were Global Coin, Worldcoin, Earthcoin, maybe Future Coin. No, not so good. Maybe I don't know, Worldcoin's not. PeopleCoin. PeopleCoin might be the next one. So who knows? If I'm going to go in a coin, though, I'd probably go Worldcoin over Dogcoin. But that's just me. But yes, this camera thing, the basic idea, though, is they want to prove that people are indeed human and not robots / AI. And there's this crazy talk about just after everyone buys in the system, then we just start giving people universal basic income. If it sounds like science fiction, actually, it's funny. The first thing that came to my mind was this Michael Crichton book. This is an old book, so I'm dating myself. If you don't know, I'm pushing 50. But this was a popular book when I was in school. They made a movie about it as well. It was called Sphere, and it didn't turn out so great. This always happens with science fiction movies. That this kind of thing is sort of a bit of a warning. So always be careful about people bringing around these orbs and saying, "Hey, we'll scan your eye, give you free crypto, and only good things can happen." The general gist of anything like this is that something. If someone's giving you something for free, then you are the product. So, moreover, I was looking into this, and to be fair, we'll look at some more of the stuff that OpenAI and Sam Altman has to say. So it says here, the company's website described Worldcoin as Ethereum-based, new collectively owned global currency that will be distributed fairly to as many people as possible. And regarding the crypto stuff, this has always been a real problem in the crypto community, to where you have a few big sharks / whales that, own most of the market cap of these things, and they push on to the little people, and then sort of basically start dumping all their coins. And that's essentially how these scams work. But they're claiming they're going to try to make this fair for everybody. And they also say here, everyone in the world would get a free share. The company suggested if they agree to an iris scan with a specifically designed device that resembles a decapitated robot head, which the company refers to as a chrome orb. And MIT wrote this. They had a sense of humor about it, so the thing is really funny. This also says, too, that each person should get his or her allotted share of digital currency and no more, to ensure that there is no double dipping. That chrome orb would scan participants' irises and several other biometric data points, and then, using a proprietary algorithm, that company was developing a cryptographically confirmed that they were human and unique to Worldcoin's database. So that's how you would do this, so no one is cheating. However, though, according to MIT, and they did a kind of deep dive in this last year, the headline was "Deception, Exploited Workers, and Cash Handouts." And part of what, the criticism of this thing is that they want to do like 1 billion people by 2023, but they've been targeting the developing world, right? And there's an interesting sort of thing I hadn't even thought about before, to be frank, like crypto colonialism. I know. It's like this new, you're combining this old concepts of, colonialism with the new concept of crypto. And the idea is like you kind of, I don't know, colonize people to get them into the crypto thing. And like, hey, look at all the, world is in this already, then therefore you should be on it. And I think the people who are crypto bulls will say, well, Chris, that's essentially what fiat is, right? You force everyone to use the dollar. You got to use dollar to buy food. You got to use the dollar to buy energy / oil. Why not get out of the thumb hold of governments and move to something else? Maybe. I'm skeptical of this stuff, but I am sharing this with you because it is very interesting news. I mean, Sam Altman is not a small person. The app is already on the App Store, so I guess if you want to not go to the ball itself, you can just download it on your phone and you can scan your eye and sign up, etc. Full disclosure, I was like looking at this thing. I was like, I don't know. I'm leery of it. That's my opinion of this. I don't necessarily want to just start scanning my eyeballs for free crypto that may or may not ever be worth anything if people don't buy into it or they just decide to run away. The other thing too, I was thinking about as well is the collection of biometric data is a real thing that may really affect us in the future in ways that are hard to predict. I've mentioned this before, but I'll mention it again because I think it's definitely worth talking about. Is pay attention to the Hollywood strike. You guys know I used to work on Hollywood, so I do care about this. But this is writers and directors or actors, I should say, or everybody. I just say in Hollywood, it affects everybody because the basic idea is that the workers are saying, hey, and workers being writers and actors saying, hey, studios promise us that you aren't going to replace us with AI, basically, right? Promise us that we'll make, rules on the use of these kind of things and ensure that humans have a place in this world. And what's interesting because when we're talking about, say, a new crypto project that wants to scan everybody's eyeball and collect all your data, I mean, obviously the question is, what are you doing with all this data, right? What are you doing with all our eyeballs? And, they're going to make the case that we're just proving that you're human, but obviously this data is a massive database, and in this world, who knows, they get hacked, any number of things. And there was an interesting situation to where I hadn't really thought about this before too deeply until I saw this episode of Netflix's Black Mirror. It was the first episode of this season, and it was called Joan is Awful. I've mentioned this before, but I just want to say, if you haven't seen the Black Mirror episode, check it out. But the basic gist of it is, I don't want to ruin it completely, but it just brings in the questions about, what if a studio could use your image for perpetuity to basically, replace you. And I would say definitely see this episode. It's very interesting. And, it's funny because the crypto bulls and will say, Chris, the whole banking system's corrupt and therefore we need to create something new. And, I'm all about scanning my eyeball to jump in on this Worldcoin. So I don't disagree with you that the banking system's corrupt. In fact, I could make a whole separate video about how corrupt it is. This is just the headlines from just today. And it's actually really scary. You can see here, Credit Suisse fined $388 million over the Archegos collapse. Okay, so they're corrupt, Credit Suisse. Then you get this other one, FDIC. So that's our essentially our insurance for all the banks. And it's like, if you don't have or if you have above 250,000, then you're uninsured, right? Talking about savings deposit in the USA or bank to bank deposit, I should say. Better way to say it. As it turns out, when we had the collapse of the Silicon Valley Bank, the banks were then supposed to report how much deposits they have in unsecured deposits, essentially, uninsured, a better way to say it. And evidently, the banks were manipulating the amount of money that they had. They were misreporting how much they had in uninsured deposits. And the FDIC is like, hey, what's up with that? And essentially, the banks, I felt like they were hiding how much risk they were taking. Also true. Trying to hide how much they have, and then therefore they don't have to pay as much in sort of the overall collective pot to save the bank. So guys, don't think I don't know about these corruption things. Moreover, regarding the banks, that was another thing. I don't have the article put up, but Bank of America just got fined recently. They were making fake accounts from people. Not fake. It was more like they were making accounts without user permission. And this goes back to, say, the crypto thing in term defense of the Worldcoin is like, well, I guess if I get your permission to get your data and your biometrics, that I know for sure you're a human and you're opting into it. But I think the problem with this kind of stuff is, people don't fully understand what they're doing. And this has been a criticism by various governments around the world who are looking to shut down Worldcoin because they feel like, and this is sort of why you would want regulations, is if you have a private party who may be doing deceptive practices to get your data. Say, hey, I'll give you, a bunch of Worldcoin and you give me your eyes and your voice or whatever. This is sort of why you would want regulations on these kind of things. Now, it was interesting because I think the crypto bulls would say, well, Chris, that's just governments, creating a bunch of FUD and they're just trying to stop the advancement of technology. by making up stuff, and the Sam Altman guy, he's all in it just to help the world. Maybe I question that kind of stuff. Like for example, this is the performance of the new Worldcoin when it came on the market. It shot up to like 320 and it's already dropped down to 220 or et cetera. So, with these kind of things, there's always hype the first day or so, and then it starts to die off. And we'll see if how the world responds to this kind of thing is, hence the Worldcoin. And I'll pose this question to you guys. What do you think about this? Do you want this sort of system where we all scan ourselves and then we can use it for ID, and we all have sort of like one system, and then I guess we all have a one currency system, ID system. Any number of things can unify us as a world, I guess, and cuts across borders. I guess that would be the argument for the crypto, is that we can cross borders and forget about governments, and we can all come together and stuff like that. And I laugh because it's like it's the reality isn't just talking about, or not reality, but say science fiction reality. Or how about this? Like, I really like Star Trek. I'm just being honest. I really like Star Trek, and I like this idea of one day planet Earth will be unified. We'll have like a star fleet, and we start running around and exploring the galaxy. And honestly, I would like that kind of future. So the question is like, how are we going to ever get to that? Is that future, or is that just a pipe dream that we'll never get to that thing? Because I wish that we could advance and stop fighting with each other and go explore the galaxy 100%. So this idea though that this private organization is going to come in and they're doing it out of the kindness of their heart, I don't know. I'm not buying it myself. And the Altman guy, I'd love to hear you guys' opinion of this person. I will say the ChatGPT stuff is still major gray areas in any number of things, because they're scanning all kinds of stuff, be it photos, be it text and stuff like that. And I think there's going to be a lot of interesting lawsuits and regulatory things that are going to happen regarding who owns whose data and whose data can you access. For example, it was recently where Musk shut down public access to Twitter, or X I should call it now, because he was saying people were data scraping the website and accusing sort of these kind of companies like, say, OpenAI, the AI companies of just taking all their data without permission. And this is something that part of social media that all of us do. If you're watching YouTube right now, and et cetera, how there's just so much information about ourselves out there, and essentially when you throw your stuff up on Facebook, Instagram, et cetera, where's this information going, and who's using it? Now, me personally, I still I do YouTube every day, so I mean I can't control everything, and even if I say, for example, go out in public, people could take my picture whenever they want. Like, it's hard to control that kind of stuff. So I can't live a life of just being paranoid all day, every day. But with that said, I myself am not so apt to jump into the Worldcoin stuff and get my eyeballs scanned for free crypto. So that's my opinion on that thing. I know I kind of rambled on a little bit here, but it is a very interesting concept that they're doing. And the whole thing of like crypto colonialism is a new thing that I'm just still wrapping my head around. I hadn't even thought about it myself. So love to hear your thoughts on any number of these things that we brought up in this video. I think this is a fun one to talk about, and I'll catch you next time.